Hey skiers, I'm Jeff from SkiEssentials.com. Welcome to our 2026 ski test. Today we're talking about the K2 Omen team. Great ski. This is kind of K2's premier park ski. It replaced the Poacher that had a very, very strong following and kind of shares some similarities with the Poacher as well, but they tweaked the shape a little bit, modernized it ever so slightly, and it's really, really fun. As somebody with a park skiing background, I always love getting on these things. I will say it focuses more on park performance than all mountain performance or anything else. But if you're the type of skier that wants a really good park ski that you can also take out of the park and have some fun on, it's a really good choice. It's 95 underfoot, so it can handle some variable conditions. We had some testers in our test this year that aren't park skiers and got on it and had a really good time and talked about how it's nimble and handled variable snow conditions. So while it excels in the park, you can take it outside of the park, and I love that, you know. I think on really narrow park skis, you're a little bit more limited to just skiing in the park and groomers and stuff like that. But the Omen team, you can ski just about anywhere, and then you'll probably see it in the Olympics this coming season, which is really cool. So they start this thing off with an aspen microblock wood core. Aspen is pretty dense when it comes to different wood that manufacturers use for ski construction. So it gives it a pretty hefty feel. And then we also get carbon boost, so some longitudinal strips of carbon through this ski. And with the way that K2 builds a lot of their twin tips with triaxial braided fiberglass and stuff like that, they just result in these like very strong, robust skis. That's something that we always saw in the Poacher. Like, you would put a Poacher on the feet of a really aggressive skier and it would never break. You know, they had like some of the best durability on the planet, and that's continued with these skis for sure. It is reflected in weight. So this is a 184, which is a pretty long ski, but it's 2,080 grams. So if you want like a really, really lightweight park ski, you may want to look elsewhere. But if you want some substance and some support, this is a really, really good choice. And then I think they nailed the flex pattern in this ski because it's not stiff, but it's stiff enough. So, you know, if you're watching Olympic slopestyle or World Cup slopestyle or something like that, the jumps that those guys are hitting are massive these days, and you kind of need some support. And you get it in this ski, but it's also not like jarringly stiff, or it's never gonna feel like it's not accommodating or that you can't manipulate it or get out of a tricky situation. So really, really good flex pattern in my opinion for a park ski. And then skis like this are always gonna be relatively symmetrical. This one's not perfectly symmetrical. I believe there's a 6 millimeter difference between tip and tail width. But aside from that, it's pretty darn close to symmetrical. So about the same amount of tip rocker and tail rocker, which isn't tremendously surprising at all. And a nice like kind of pointy shape. So that's, to me, a little different than what we saw in the Poacher. It's almost sort of got that javelin finish to both the tip and maybe even like more noticeably in the tail. And that just makes it very, very forgiving for switch takeoffs, for like nose butters onto a rail. It's not gonna feel catchy, and that's kind of, to me, where I feel like they modernized it a little bit. Yeah, I love the Omen team. It's always really fun to ski. Personally, every time I get to ski it, we're usually filming or taking photos or something like that, and we're in a pretty big group, and I don't have the chance to take it into the park. And for me, that's all I want to do on a ski like this. I think it performs in the park so incredibly well, and it's like, I just love this width and this shape for park skiing. 95 underfoot for me is sort of a sweet spot for park ski width. I do like skiing wider stuff, like I love the Reckoner 102, but you know, if you want to maximize your potential in the park, staying a little narrower is a nice thing to do. And like I said, I just think that flex pattern is like really, really supportive. I do enjoy skiing it not in the park as well, It just, it doesn't have like the dynamic nature of like a Mindbender 89 Ti. You can't like rail carving turns on it. And then even like a Reckoner 102, I find a little bit more fun off-piste because it's wider and a little surfier. So that's why, to me, the sweet spot for the Omen team is first somebody who is spending most of their time in the park, or at least a considerable amount of time in the park, or at least you're choosing your ski with park skiing kind of as the top priority. Because if you're not, I feel like there are better twin tips out there that'll do all mountain first and park second. This one definitely feels to me like a park first, all mountain second type of ski. So yeah, that's it. That's the Omen team from K2. Let us know if you have any questions about it, and we will see you out there on the slopes.